All right, Tuesday morning. Welcome, everybody. Find a way to start that is comfortable for you, meeting your body where it is right now. Like I mentioned before this recording started, if you need to open up your shoulders, you can come into a restorative, heart-opening posture with blocks. Or sit up. So we are continuing our review of the niyamas, which is the second of the 8 limbs of yoga. And the niyamas are our observances to ourselves. They're our own spiritual practices that help to connect us deeper inward. We started with the first, which was saucha, or purity. The second, which was santosha, or contentment. Yesterday was tapas, or self-discipline, fiery discipline. And today is a word, svadhyaya. And here is some information about it from an Eckhart Yoga article written by Emma Newland. She breaks down the Sanskrit word sva, meaning own, self, or the human soul. Adhyaya, meaning lesson, lecture, or reading. And so it can imply the practice of studying scriptures, a broad variety of texts, as well as the practice of studying the self. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, there's a quote in book 2, sutra number 44, that says, "Study thyself, discover the divine." So I want to note that in many yoga studies or writings, the self, written with a lowercase s, usually refers to the human form of our being and the ego. Whereas when it's capitalized with an S, self refers to divine within, our eternal true self, or in Sanskrit, the Atman. So the article says, when we listen to the ego, we often do things that don't always align with our true beliefs or intuition. The I, or small self, is mostly concerned with survival, which usually entails getting what it wants in all situations and proving it is indeed the best, despite what consequences that might have for us. The small self judges, criticizes, fears, conditions, doubts, and is essentially the cause of the chitta vritti. That is Sanskrit for the fluctuations of the mind, that which we're calming through the practice of yoga. So by paying attention to or studying ourselves, we become more aware of the things we do that harm us, and also those which serve us and bring us closer to that process of yoking, or uniting, the literal definition of the word yoga, with the true self. So practicing Svadhyaya includes also studying wisdom texts that help us grow in realization of our true self, like texts about yoga in its various forms. Some ancient texts that continue to be studied today are the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, or the Bhagavad Gita, or the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. But you might also study articles that you find online, much accessible, modern books. And it doesn't have to be literally related to yoga, but the practices therein. And when we're studying these books, Svadhyaya is not just merely sinking in the mental knowledge, but taking it to the next step, which is self-study, applying it, ruminating, reflecting on how this relates to our lives and can guide us towards deeper connection to self. So how do we practice Svadhyaya in yoga, like physical asanas? Well, one is to study our habits, how we move through physical postures or approach them can be very reflective of the way we practice life, how we approach challenges in physical poses as well as in life, how we approach listening to our deeper self and finding balance, all of those things. We can also study our breath. As we talk about a lot, our breath is such an instantaneous indicator of how we're feeling in various states, physically, emotionally, mentally. And being aware of that, asking our emotions, what does it have to inform us? What can we learn from that? Also, studying where you hold tension, where you might habitually hold tension as you enter the practice, as you're in the physical practice, where does tension often arise? And again, asking yourself, why is this present? How often does this arise, and what does it need to show me? And especially in meditation, studying your thoughts, noticing the patterns of thoughts so that we can bring awareness of other aspects of ourselves. There's a quote by an unknown author, and it says, "Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny." So now, how do we practice Svadhyaya off the mat? Well, in recognizing our habits, we can discern between the ones which come largely from an ego-based place and which ones are the result of listening to our true self. Really understanding our motivations even before our actions. So the practice of Svadhyaya requires the precedent practices in the niyamas and the yamas, like satya, which is one of the yamas, truthfulness or honesty, in order to view ourselves from an honest perspective. Tapas, which was yesterday's niyama, which is discipline, as it does require that to actually do something that might not be so fun, taking an honest look at our habits and ourselves. And ahimsa, really important. This was the number one of the first limb of yoga. Ahimsa is non-violence, non-harm, doing all of these practices in light of love and kindness. So it reminds us to look at ourselves without judgment, without criticism, but really just for that sake of expanding into the pureness of being that we are. So I want to end with a quote from the Bhagavad Gita, and it said, "Yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self," with a capital S. So if you're still lying down, if that's how you started today, please begin to turn over to one side and gently lift your body upright. So sitting tall, firming down through the pelvis. Let your hands rest, perhaps on your lap or maybe stacked on your heart, whatever allows you to tune your attention inward as you close the eyes. And feel an uplift through the center of your spine, a broadening through your chest. And as you sit here in this posture of this body, you feel anything, including tension, including openness. Right here, beginning that practice of self-study with a physical body. What does it have to tell you right now? Feel into the way your body is breathing at this moment, indicating perhaps your state of mind, state of energy and emotions. Sometimes in the physical yoga practice, it's not about changing our bodies, but undoing things that we might have constricted. So notice if there's any undoing necessary here to allow the breath to feel more free. It might be a rolling back of the shoulders slightly and softening them downward. Feel the breath come in through the nostrils, trace down through the back of your throat, expand into the chest, the four walls of your ribcage, and even trickle down towards the pit of your abdomen. Exhaling, still lengthening the spine upright. Feel the breath release through the mouth. As you hear it, whisper all the way out. Taking several more breaths like that. Breathing in fully. Breathing out audibly and deeply. Hearing a balance to the length of in-breath and out breath. Now bring your mind's eye to your belly and allow that to expand just a little bit more using the muscle of your diaphragm. And close the lips so that you're just breathing through the nose now, still equal length of inhale and exhale. Feel the belly hollow as you exhale. Now you could continue slow, steady breaths like Ujjayi Pranayama, or prepare for the energizing Bhastrika Pranayama, bellows breath. And it's done like this, a quick demo. The elbows are bent apart, hands like fists. And as you take a deep inhale, the arms raise, fingers spread, exhale, the elbows bent. Eyes are closed, mouth is closed, breathing into the belly using the diaphragm, rhythmically, like this. So if you'd like to try that for a minute, I'll watch the clock. Let's prepare. Bend the elbows apart, hands like fists, sit tall, shoulders relax, and begin. Relax. Pause a moment to observe the effects. And let's sustain the breath through the nose while softly narrowing the back of your throat, creating a whispering sound. Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breath. Noting the smooth transitions in the breath, softly blink your eyes open. Let's make our way down into child's pose, setting the knees on the floor, the feet together to touch, and having the knees either together or as wide apart as needed to allow your pelvis to easily drop down towards your feet. Now let's more actively lengthen the back by reaching the arms forward, separating the hands about shoulders width apart. Let's broaden across the tops of the shoulders. So spread the shoulder blades wide across the back ribs. And as you keep the palms pressing face down, rotate the outer sides of your upper arms, these triceps right here, towards the ground. So the effect is spreading the shoulder blades even wider, slightly to the sides of the ribs. Then as you reach the fingertips forward actively, the elbows are off the ground, draw your shoulder blades back and continue to lengthen. The crown of your head forward, resting the forehead down, and the tailbone back and down, feeling the belly hollow towards the back as you breathe out. And let's take just 3 more deep breaths here in Balasana, child's pose. Knowing that at any point that your body or you need to rest, you can always come back to this position. Studying when the body may start to feel tired, noticing the patterns within the practice. Let's walk the hands over to the right, moving into a side bend, reaching the hands off the mat to the right side. Now there are different ways you can deepen the stretch if you're needing to. You could crawl the left fingertips further forward and maybe even bend the right elbow towards the sky so that right arm is like a kickstand on a bike, adding leverage, while actively drawing your left sitting bone further towards the rear of your mat and breathing more consciously into the left wall of your ribcage, down to the left side of your lower back. Now notice, is any tension starting to rise in the face? I ask because I just noticed in my own. So pay attention to that. Walk your hands through center and then reach over to the left outside of your mat. If you're feeling the need to deepen the side stretch, walk the right fingertips further forward and bend the left elbow towards the sky. You might focus on breathing deeper into the right wall of your rib cage, down into the right side of your lower back as you firm the right sitting bone down towards your right heel. Full breath in. Equal length of the breath out. Now let's reach the hands forward through center and begin to slither all the way to the belly on the ground. Coming into Sphinx pose, our first and gentle back bend. So as the legs straighten behind you, point your toes and bring your knees close enough together so that your feet are hips distance apart, not wider. Now as you see your elbows just slightly in front of your shoulders, parallel the forearms in front, lifting the chest off the ground, and with your palms face down, keep them still, but give your shoulders the feeling as if you're dragging your forearms back towards the side ribs. So feel how you can broaden the collarbones as you extend the center of your chest forward like that. And now, without straining the neck, look slightly down just ahead of your fingertips and relax the face, staying here in Sphinx for about 3 more breaths. Now, in all of the back bends like Cobra, upward facing dog, you want to feel active in lengthening the legs back and lengthening the tailbone back towards the space between the heels. You're firming down through every toenail, so your knees are actually not resting on the mat. The legs are active. All of that provides support for your lower spine. Now, maintain that in the legs, pelvis stays on the ground. Let's prepare for Bhujangasana, Cobra. Slide your hands back so that your wrists are alongside your floating ribs, the lowest ribs. So if you look back, your elbows are bent to stack right above the wrists and your arms are hugging close to your sides. Now keep pressing the pubic bone in every toenail on the ground, while right under the shoulder blades, focus on contracting the back to lift the chest. Again, notice the neck. Look slightly down ahead so you're not straining it, and then press the shoulder blades down the back ribs. Let's take 3 more breaths. So as your toenails, even the pinky ones, are rooting into the earth, the knees are lifted off the ground and your heels are pressing towards the rear wall. Take another in breath. Now press through the hands and engage the belly as you lower the knees. Rise up to all fours. Let's take a few cat-cows. On an inhale, coil your chest up, first lengthening the spine forward. Cow pose. On an exhale, contract your belly. Look down between the knees and round the back, cat pose. Keep going at your own pace of breath. Inhale to glide forward, then coil the chest up. Exhale to contract the belly, tuck the tailbone under, and round the back. Let's take about 3 more cycles of breath. Feeling the synchronization of the inhale in one motion, and the exhale, body moves the other motion. Now on your next exhale, with fingers spread flat, tuck your toes and lift the hips back. Downward facing up. Let's take about 5 breaths to arrive here, whatever that means for you. Holding still right away, shifting around, staying aware of that deep, balanced breath. As you warm up your body, breathing through the nose. Now with very bent knees, lift your heels and hips high, look in front of your hands. At the bottom of your exhalation, think of lifting your pelvic floor, engaging the lower abdomen. And while the breath is held out, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat, standing in a forward fold. When you arrive, have your feet at least hips distance apart. Parallel your second toes and bend your knees as much as needed, especially at the start, to truly release the spine and not round the shoulders. So lift the shoulders away from the neck, even if you decide to hold opposite elbows and gently pull the elbow tips lower. Or maybe you reach back behind you and interlace the fingers, reaching the arms forward, opening the fronts of the shoulders. In any case, keep lifting the shoulders away from your neck while allowing your head to drop freely. Let's take a few breaths. Now the legs here are actively supporting the spine. Fronts of your thighs, your quadriceps are engaged. Your weight is shifting forward, slightly heavier on the balls of your feet as you spread your toes without gripping the mat. Keeping the weight forward, press your fingertips either onto your thighs, shins, blocks in front, or the ground. And really use your fingertips to traction your spine as you breathe in to extend your heart forward. Looking towards the tip of your nose, feel the length of your neck. Keep that and exhale, fold a little more. Firming down through the feet and belly, sweep the arms and inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Reaching the palms to touch, then exhale your hands down to your heart. Let's take a slow sun salutation C on both sides. Inhale, raise the arms overhead. With an exhale, bow forward. Notice if it's necessary to bend the knees to eliminate added tension in the lower back. Press with your fingertips. Inhale, lengthen your spine parallel to the floor. Lower your fingertips outside your heels and step your left knee behind you so your legs are hips width apart in a low lunge. Untuck the back toes and firm your right foot still facing forward as you either use your hands to press into your front thigh and lift the pelvis more upright, thus the spine too, or raise the arms overhead. Let's take about 3 breaths here. So energetically, which means not visibly, imagine dragging your legs towards each other, allowing your 2 hips to equally face the front of your mat. While engaging the lower belly, slightly lift your frontal hip bones, allowing your tailbone to anchor downward towards the ground. Now relax the shoulders, gaze up for one more inhalation, tall spine. Then with an exhalation, backstroke your 2 hands flat on the floor in front of you and step to plank. Let's hold plank for about 3 breaths. Stacking the shoulders right on top of the wrists. Look at the floor in front of your hands. Knees could be on the ground for added support, but either way, engage the lower belly. Spread the shoulder blades across the back ribs. With a slow exhalation, glide forward with this long spine and bend your elbows back, feeling your arms hug your side ribs. Come all the way down. Point the toes on the earth, knees are lifted, pelvis is on the ground. Breathe into cobra. Elbows hug close to your sides, press the floor away. Tuck the toes, engage the belly, and lift the pelvis back to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. With an inhale, keep your hips squared and raise the left leg straight behind you, flexing the foot. As you exhale, contract your belly round forward to lightly step the foot inside of your left hand. As you lower the right knee and untuck the toes, see that your legs are hips width apart. Firm down to your front foot and either press your hands on top of the front thigh or lift the arms right away, lifting your pelvis upright, spine upright. 3 breaths. Energetically scissor the legs towards each other. Lift the frontal hip bones. Get tall through the spine as you relax the shoulders. Gaze up, taking one more inhalation. As you exhale, circle your hands to the top of your mat and step the right foot forward to fold. From down through your feet, inhale, sweep the arms and rise all the way up to palms touch overhead. Exhale, the hands down by your sides. Side 2. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Press with the hands. Inhale, lengthen the spine forward. Fingertips outside of the heels. Exhale, step the right knee back, untuck the toes. Firm down through the left foot. Lift your spine, whether you press your front thigh or raise the arms overhead, taking about 3 breaths here. So those of you feeling pretty stable and balanced, try anchoring your tailbone forward towards your inner left heel while scissoring the left hip back. Then lift the back ribs and coil the chest up, maybe sealing the palms to touch overhead. Take 1 more breath. Backstroke the hands as you exhale to plank pose. This time, let's hold plank for 1 inhalation. Firm belly, gaze forward. Exhale, glide forward. Then down either into cobra if you're going to upward dog, only if you don't have any lower back issues. You untuck the toes halfway down. Legs are energized as you coil the chest up. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Once there, take a full cycle of breath. Keeping your hips squared, inhale, raise the right leg behind you. Flex the heel towards the rear wall. Exhale, contract the belly, round forward to softly land the foot inside of your right hand. Lower the back knee, untuck the toes. From down to your front foot and lift your torso by aligning your pelvis upright. Arms where you need them to be for 3 breaths. Now, if your balance feels pretty steady, try tilting the tailbone forward towards your inner right heel, scissoring the right hip back, lift the back ribs, and coil your chest up. Maybe the palms meet as you gaze up. Take one more inhalation. As you exhale, lower your hands at the front of your mat and step the left foot forward to fold. Inhale, circle the arms to rise all the way up. Exhale, fold forward all the way down for a sun salutation A. Inhale, lengthen the spine forward. Either lightly jump to chaturanga if that is part of your practice, or step to plank and lower forward, then down. Cobra or upward facing dog as you breathe in like strong. Engage the belly to lift the hips back. Downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths. So having semi-flowed a few times, observe what you feel in your body right now. During that somewhat continuous movement, did you feel any tension rise? Has the breath changed? Staying aware, inhale, raise the right leg behind you. As you exhale, cross your right ankle in front of your left thigh like a figure 4 shape. Flexing your right foot. Use your hands to press the mat away as you lift your 2 sitting bones as evenly as you can, far up and back behind you. Now feel your right ankle press against your left thigh, turning open the right thigh bone at the hip. Engage the belly towards the back. Draw your tailbone further up and back. And let's take 2 more deep breaths, trying to equally lengthen both sides of your torso, from your armpits to your outer hips. Take another inhalation. And now as you exhale, bend your right knee towards your right elbow or tricep and shift forward to plank pose. Very lightly set the right foot down outside of your right hand and lower the back knee. Coming into lizard lunge for about 5 breaths, take your choice of the variation. You could be right here, both hands inside the right foot facing forward. You could add a little more depth by lowering the forearms onto props or the ground. You could add a deeper stretch into your IT band of the right thigh by flexing the right foot and splaying the thigh open, leaning on the outer edge of the foot. You could add a quadricep stretch for your left thigh by backstroking the right hand to catch hold of your left foot, bringing it closer. We've got just about 3 more deep breaths here. At the end of this exhalation, let's place the 2 hands in front of you, stepping the right foot directly between them at the front and center of your mat, preparing for warrior 2. Straighten the back leg, spin the heel down, pointing your left toes slightly at the front of your mat. Align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot, and as you bend the front knee, cartwheel the arms and rise up to stand. Right away, steady your eyes on one spot, just in front of your right hand, and feel these adjustments in your body. How you're wrapping your right sitting bone down slightly under your body to direct the tailbone straight down towards the earth, while firming the top of your left thigh bone back towards the right wide width of your mat, aligning your pelvis as upright as possible. Feel that effect on your spine's ability to lengthen more vertically. While the shoulders relax down, feel a broadening across your chest through the reach of your arms, your fingertips. Now feel into other parts of your body. Do you notice any tension held? Can you hear the quality of your breath? Let's take 2 more breaths here in Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Straighten the right leg to prepare for triangle. You might like a shorter stance, about 2 inches. Glide your hips sideways towards the rear edge of your mat and reach your right hand forward before lowering it onto your right leg or just to the right outside of the leg, pressing arm and leg against each other. As you raise the left arm, feel a straight line as you stack your wrists and shoulders. Draw your 2 shoulder blades down your back ribs as you lengthen the crown of your head towards the front wall of your room. Now keep wrapping that right sitting bone underneath your body as you actively direct your tailbone towards your left heel. Press into the earth with your outer left foot. And see if you might be able to spiral the middle of your chest slightly more to face the ceiling as you might look up towards the left thumb. Let's take about 4 more breaths here in triangle pose. Can you feel your weight equally weighted on both feet? Fronts of your thighs engaged, sides of your waist engaged, lower belly firm, so that you could lighten the weight of your right hand. Now rotating your left outer upper arm to face your left wall. Pinky finger towards left wall. Reach the left arm overhead towards the front wall and continue to spiral the chest towards the sky and wrap the right sitting bone under your body, growing length through both sides of your torso and neck. Last 3 breaths in extended triangle pose. Lowering your 2 hands to the floor, step back to plank. You could choose to flow through a vinyasa, hold plank, take rest, cat-cow, or go straight to downward facing dog. As you arrive in downward, notice if it feels any different, like in the left and right sides of your body. Deep breath in, through the nose, exhale. With an inhale, raise the left leg behind you, flex the foot. As you turn out the left leg, bend the knee and cross the left ankle in front of your right thigh, like a figure 4 shape. As your left ankle presses against the right thigh, use your hands to imagine as if you're pushing the mat away from your right foot. Draw your sitting bones up high and towards the rear wall while dropping your head. A few more breaths here. Use the contact of left ankle and right thigh to help turn out the left thigh bone at the hip. Belly firms in, supporting the back. Shoulders rise, releasing the neck. Take another breath in. As you exhale, lightly tap your left knee outside your left upper arm, coming forward to plank. Then softly land the foot just outside of your left hand. Lower your back knee into lizard lunge. We're here for about 5 breaths. So take your choice of this posture. Stay on your hands, come down to your forearms for depth. Flex the left foot and splay the left thigh open for the left IT band. Bend the right knee and backstroke the left hand to catch the right foot for the quadricep. You've got about 3 more slow breaths here. Feel into what you notice. With your 2 hands towards the front of your mat, walk your left foot front and center between your hands. Straighten your right leg and spin the heel down, aligning left heel to arch of right foot. Right toes slightly facing the front of your mat. Bend the front knee just over the ankle and press down through your feet as you windmill your arms, rising up to Warrior 2. Right away, steady your eyes on one spot. preferably right past the left hand. Then feel these adjustments in your body. Your left sitting bone rotating slightly underneath your body, allowing your tailbone to anchor straight downward. Firming the top of your right thigh bone back towards the left wide width of your mat, aligning your pelvic bowl upright. Feel your spine lifting tall as you relax the shoulders down. Feel the broadening of your chest and upper back through the reach of your arms and fingertips. Listen to your breathing. 3 more. Let's prepare for triangle pose. Straighten the left leg, slide the pelvis towards the back of your mat. You might shorten the stance a couple inches. Reach the left hand forward, then tilt it down to your left leg or just to the left outside of the leg. You want to still be able to rotate that left sitting bone under your body, and now actively reach your tailbone back towards your right heel. As your right outer foot presses into the earth, lengthen your spine through the crown of your head forward towards the front wall of your room. Feel the stacking of your wrists and shoulders. As you broaden the chest and upper back, create length in the neck. Now, if you feel stability to do so, rotate the middle of your chest slightly more to face the sky, and you might gaze up towards the right thumb. Feel expansion and grounding here for 4 more deep breaths. Extended triangle. From your right shoulder, rotate your outer upper arm to face the right wall. So that's the pinky finger side. Reach the right arm overhead towards the front wall diagonally. Keep lengthening the sides of your neck. Keep spiraling the chest towards the sky and wrapping the left sitting bone under your body. Let's take 3 more breaths. Utthita Trikonasana. See if you can lighten the weight of your left hand through the energy of your legs, muscles of your torso. Deep inhale. Exhale, lower your hands to plank and take your choice of vinyasa, cat-cow, child's pose, or straight to downward facing dog. As you arrive in downward facing or Adho Mukha Svanasana, let's take 3 slow breaths. See your feet hips width apart. Feel your hips balanced in height. Maintaining that balance, containing your center. Breathe in to raise the right leg behind you. Now balance your shoulders by looking forward and exhale. Cross your right knee to tap your left elbow or tricep, twisting at your waistline. Step right foot just inside of your right hand. Come into a high lunge where your feet are hips width apart and parallel. Energize your legs by pretending as if you're dragging your feet towards each other, slowly rising up to stand with arms overhead in crescent lunge. Now variations of this pose. Bend the left knee, lower it to the ground for added support. Bend the left knee just to tilt the tailbone down and orient the pelvis more upright, and then re-straighten the left leg. Bring your awareness to the very bottom of your spine. Observe its orientation there. Then climb your awareness up the ladder of each vertebra, observing the curvature and how each stacks. Feel the effect on your shoulders, your neck, the orientation of your skull, chin in relation to your chest. Allowing 2 more deep breaths. Now, as you continue that internal action of scissoring the legs to stabilize your 2 hips, join your hands at your heart center. Firm your left heel back and lengthen your spine forward diagonally. At your waistline, twist to your right side and choose either to lower the left hand on the floor block just inside of the right leg, directly under your shoulder, or hook the left elbow outside your right thigh. For about 5 breaths here, continue to think of lengthening your spine forward from your pelvis with each inhalation. Feel the steadiness of your legs, the squaring of your hips, as you rotate the chest further into the twist with each exhalation. Can you feel your energetic approach to this posture? Your mental approach? If the hands are in prayer, feel the center of your chest meet your thumbs. Now look to the ground. Set your left hand flat so your wrist is directly under your shoulder. We're moving into your choice of Vashisthasana or side plank, having warmed up the side muscles of the waist already. You could modify by lowering the left knee, stepping the right foot towards the rear of your mat, and raising the right arm. You could modify by keeping the left leg straight, flexing the left foot rolling onto the outer edge of it, and stepping the right foot down the middle of your mat to face the right wall, like a kickstand on a bike. Or you could take the full position, stacking your 2 feet flexed, long tailbone towards heels, crown towards the front wall. Or you can add some challenge by hovering the right foot flexed over the left. Maybe taking a tree pose, the right foot hugging the left inner leg. Sweeping the right arm overhead. After you finish your own count of about 5 breaths, circle the right hand to the ground and take your choice to rest or flow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. You might even play with flowing down the tree. Then the 2 feet are on the ground as you inhale to cobra or upward facing. And when you return to downward facing dog, take about 3 breaths just to feel in to what's present. Downward facing dog. See your feet hips width apart and feel your 2 hips balanced. Containing your center, breathe in and raise the left leg behind you. Flex the foot. Shoulders stay balanced as you look forward. Cross the left knee to your right elbow or tricep, twisting at your waistline. Step the left foot just inside of your left hand. Come into a high lunge where your feet are hips width apart and parallel. Energetically scissor the legs towards each other to create stability from the roots up as you rise. Lifting your spine, arms overhead. Notice what your body needs here to feel stability and create space. Perhaps bending the right knee to lower onto the ground, or bending it momentarily to adjust the pelvic bowl upright. Then maybe straightening the right leg. Let's take about 3 more breaths. Steady your gaze. Then from here, join your hands together at your hearts. Firm your right heel back as you inhale to lengthen your spine forward. Keep your hips leveled as you exhale to rotate your chest to the left. Either set the right hand down on our block or the floor, just inside of your left leg, or hook the right elbow outside of the left thigh. Each inhale, continue to lengthen your spine down the midline of your mat. Each exhale, stay steady in the hips and continue to rotate your chest, twisting at your waistline. And through this whole process, observe what's the energy being held in your shoulders, in your jaw, in your breath. Two more breaths. Now look down at the ground under your right shoulder. Place your right hand there so your wrist is directly under the shoulder, fingers spread. Set up for the same version of side plank you did on side one, whether right knee's on the floor and you modify with left foot straight back, left arm up. Or you modify with right leg straight, flexing the foot, leaning on the outer edge of it, and stepping the left foot in front of you like a kickstand. Or you take the full thing with the feet stacked, feet flexed, stacking left hip above right, maybe hovering the left foot, adding some challenge, or playing with tree pose, left foot inside right leg. Feel your right hip rise away from the ground. The power of your obliques and willpower. Now, however you want to vary it, after about 5 breaths, circle the left hand overhead. Whether you choose to flow or still, will eventually meet again in downward facing dog. If you took tree, maybe you play with flowing down with tree. Then both feet on the ground as you inhale to your back bend. Take a few breaths when you arrive at downward facing dog. Some breaths of introspection. Then begin to walk your hands back towards your feet, arriving at a forward fold at the rear of your mats. With your feet at least hips width apart and parallel, lift your toes. Prepare for Padahastasana to stretch your outer wrists. Slip your palms face up, fingertips towards the heels, underneath your feet, so as to massage the inner creases with your toes, inner creases of your wrists with your toes. Remember, you could bend your knees as much as needed to let the hands reach under. Shift your weight again towards the balls of your feet and breathe in to lift your heart as if pressing it through the gates of your arms, keeping length in the spine. Fold from your hips, drop the skull, and lift the shoulders away from the neck. You might even be able to bend the elbows apart to help that. Let's take 2 more half forward folds. Breathe in, extend your heart forward, lengthen the sides of your waist. Breathe out, hinge from your hips, lift the sitting bones. 1 more, inhale, lift the heart, lengthen through the center of your spine. Maintaining as much length as possible there. Fold from your hips, and let's stay a few breaths. Right now might be a great time to cool off a bit with lion's breath, or release any tension in the jaw, the face by fluttering the lips with deep exhales. Remembering lion's breath is where you inhale deeply, you open the mouth and eyes wide while sticking your tongue to exhale. It might feel good to shake the head, wiggle out the shoulders, make a silly face, and bring lightheartedness to any practice. And once you've let that go, release the hands from underneath. Circle the arms as you inhale to rise all the way up to stand. Let your palms meet at your heart for one last standing posture. Tree. With your feet touching, and I'll be your mirror here. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Turn out your right leg at the hip and hug the inside of your left ankle, calf, or thigh. Try to level your pelvic bowl upright. Spread your weight through the 4 corners of your left foot. Press into the ground and feel the rise of energy up the center of your body. Maybe play with raising the arms or the gaze, closing the eyes. Let's take a few more breaths. observing how your mind and body play with balance. Uniting your palms at your heart, take a deep breath and lift your hearts. Exhale, set your right hand next to the left. Right foot next to the left. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Turn out your left leg from the hip. Hug the inside of your right ankle, calf, or thigh. And remember, this is a hip opening posture too of your left side. So as you're opening that hip, externally rotate the thigh bone as we've been doing in other poses, allowing the left sitting bone to anchor downward towards the inside of your right heel. Then as you root down, lift upward to the center of your spine. Check in with your breathing. Observe whatever goes on in the mind here. All colored with ahimsa, right? That kindness. Last couple of breaths in Vrikshasana, tree pose. Bring your hands to meet at your heart. Take a deep breath and lift. And exhale, set the left foot down. Let's spread the feet wide apart to come into one last inversion of your choice, whether it be moving into tripod headstand, clasping the hands to fold forward, adding a spinal twist as you fold. Take your choice. We'll be here for about a minute. Begin with the hands on your hips, feet parallel. Lift the chest as you inhale, then grow the spine as you tilt more weight forward, exhaling to fold. So whatever variations, this forward fold or an inversion, we're here for about a minute. Remember, if you are playing with any kind of headstand, that your arms are what's carrying most of your weight, so that as you actively press into the ground with them, whether it be your forearms or your hands, you're also lifting the shoulders away from the neck and creating space and lightness in the neck. You want to maintain a natural curvature in your neck, so it's the very, very top center of your head that's on the ground if you are in headstand. Let's take about 5 more breaths in whatever inversion you're practicing right now. Just simply going upside down. Seeing things from another angle. And resetting internally. So from your wide-legged forward fold with 2 feet on the ground, begin to place your hands on the floor, heel toe, your feet close enough together so that you could lower your knees, keep the head low, lower your pelvis, and find child's pose. Arms wherever you like here in child's pose, just about 3 transitional breaths. Remember, we practiced this in the very beginning. Does it feel different now towards the end? Pressing your hands forward, slither forward onto your stomach, lying with forehead on the ground for one last active back bend. This one is really great for strengthening the muscles that support your spine, especially the lower back. It's locust pose. We'll take it for your count of 5 to 10 breaths. So set up with the knees close together. When you're holding the posture, you don't want your feet to splay wider than hips width apart. Press your heels back as you point your toes, actively lifting the legs with arms by your sides, palms face down. Lift your chest by contracting the muscles right under your shoulder blades. As you lift the heart, look slightly down and find length in the back of your neck, pressing the shoulder blades down the back. So you're counting on your own. If you start to feel your legs turn out, like your toes splay out, spiral your inner thighs towards the ceiling and reach your tailbone towards your inner heels. You might open the arms and turn the palms to face forward by rotating the shoulders back, not by rotating at the wrists. You might reach the arms forward. If you don't have lower back issues, this is a great way to add more strengthening into the other muscles of the back. If the arms are forward, lift the upper arms alongside the ears and keep lengthening your neck by pressing the shoulder blades back, lifting your chest. Think of length in this pose. Then the heart rises. And when you decide to lower, you might like to make a pillow for your head out of your forearms. Sway the pelvis side to side, or bend the knees and gently drop the shins together side to side, just to add some release for your lower back, taking just about 3 more belly breaths in and exhales through the mouth. Then as you press the floor beside your lowest ribs, lift up to all fours, and let's come to sit with your legs in front of you. Extending your left leg forward. Step your right foot in front of the hip or outside of your left knee for a seated spinal twist. If outside of the knee, you could also bend the left knee just as long as your pelvis is equally weighted left and right. Place the right hand behind your pelvis, raise the left arm up, press into the ground even with your right foot, and lift up to the top of your head. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, exhale, twist to your right, and lower your left arm to hold your shin or to hook your elbow outside the thigh. Broaden the chest, feel the natural space between chin and chest. Lengthen through the back of your skull. And as you breathe out, allow the belly to hollow while rotating the chest further. 2 last breaths. At the end of the exhale, unwind your spine and straighten both legs in front. Second side. Bend your left knee and either step the foot in front of the hip or outside of the right knee, in which you might also bend the right knee. Place the left hand behind your pelvis, raise the right arm up, press into the ground even with your left foot, lift up through the center line of your torso. Exhale, twist to your left. Lowering your right arm, either hold your shin or hook your elbow outside the thigh. Then re-broaden your chest. Find space at your throat as you lift through the back of your neck and skull. Breathing out, hollow your belly, allowing the rib cage to keep turning. Let's take 2 last deep breaths here. Digestion stimulating, lower back stretching, all of the spine stretching. At the end of the exhale, unwind your spine and choose your forward fold. Whether you want to focus a bit more on hips, bringing the soles of the feet together and folding this way in bound angle, or more for the hamstrings, straightening the legs and flexing the feet, hips width apart, and lengthening the spine as you fold. Take your choice for about 5 slow exhalations, lengthening the out breaths longer than the in breaths. Stay mindful of keeping your heart space slightly lifted, your throat open, and your shoulders relaxed away from your neck. When you finish your 5th exhalation, use an inhale to float your heart up, lifting your spine slowly, and an exhale to lower your back onto your mat. If there's any last brief posture you need to settle into Shavasana that is relaxing and cooling, feel free to take that for just maybe 5 breaths, and then we'll land in stillness. As you lie here, body still, breath natural, just stay observant of what comes up in body or mind. If you choose to stay longer in Shavasana, feel free not to move. Otherwise, let's enter a seated meditation for 2 minutes, turning your body to one side and slowly lifting it upright to sit. Continuing the practice of self-study, Svadhyaya, I invite you to use these 2 minutes to anchor in some focal point, like your breathing, and to be aware of whatever comes up in sensation or thought form. Just aware, practicing ahimsa of non-judgment, seeing what's there and re-anchoring on your breath. Allow a deeper breath in. Feel the rise of your chest. Slow exhalation through your lips. If you're lying down and want to close the practice together, gently lift your body upright to sit. Join your palms to meet at your heart in this gesture of union and appreciation. Bowing in to your inner light and that in each other. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.